What is past perfect tense? Well, the past perfect tense is made from the verb had and the past participle or the past form of a verb. For example, when John died, he and Mary had lived together for nearly a decade. Here we can see that had has been added to lived. So had and the past form of the verb live, that is lived, have been added together to form the past perfect tense. Similarly, in the second sentence, after Jane had moved out, I found her notes. Again, we can see that moved along with the verb had together make the past perfect tense. Now, the question that is often faced by a lot of us, the question that arises in a lot of our minds is, why do we need the past perfect tense to denote something that happened in the past? If it happened in the past, we could simply use the simple past tense. Why do we need something called the past perfect tense? Let us see why. To answer the question why past perfect tense is needed, we will take the help of the timeline, the following timeline. Now, if we have one past event, an event that took place in the past, we can use the simple past. However, what if we have two events and both took place in the past? How do we then represent which of these two events happened first and which of these two events happened next, if they happen in a sequence? And this is where we need the help of the past perfect. In order to clarify or set the sequence of these two events, both of which happened in the past, we need the past perfect tense. Don't worry, we are going to understand this in detail. Here are two sentences for you. I researched a company that went bankrupt in 2010, and I researched a company that was established in 2001. Now, which of these two sentences is incorrect and why? Can you tell us that? Take your time and then we will delve deeper to understand which of these is correct and why. Let us look at the first sentence. I researched a company that went bankrupt in 2010. Okay, so what do we have here? We have two events. One, researched, and the other went bankrupt. We know from the sentence that both the events took place in the past. However, there are some other things that we don't really know. Ask yourself, did these two events take place at the same time? That is, from the sentence, am I able to understand that the research also took place in 2010 when the company went bankrupt? Well, don't know, right? We cannot really tell. Then you can ask yourself, if we do not know whether the two events took place in the same year, then do we know which one took place first here? Does the sentence tell us that? Not really. That means from the context of the sentence, that is the research and the going bankrupt of the company, we are not able to decide whether the research preceded the bankruptcy or the bankruptcy took place before the research. If the context does not tell us the sequence between the two events, then how do we clarify the sequence? Because grammar is all about clarity and communication. In such cases, we use the past perfect tense. Let me show you how. So we are looking at the first sentence. I researched a company that went bankrupt in 2010. As mentioned already, the research could have taken place before or after the company went bankrupt in 2010. The correct version of this sentence that would tell us which of these two events took place first and which of these two events took place after that would be as follows. If the research took place before the company went bankrupt, then I would use the past perfect had researched for the first event. And then I would use the simple past went with the second event. In any case, for the second event, we are already told when it took place. This shows us that had researched is event 1 and went is event 2. So we use the past perfect had researched to indicate the first event. This sentence now tells us very clearly the sequence between the two events. We could also write the same sentence in a different way to convey a different meaning. If the company had already gone bankrupt before I did the research, in that case, I will use the past perfect with bankrupt. In that case, the bankruptcy becomes the first event and research takes place after that. So we use the simple past for the second event and we use the past perfect for the first event. In this case, even if we don't write in 2010, it is understood that the bankruptcy took place before the research took place. So these two versions are clearly telling us which event happened first, and this kind of clarity of communication is necessary. Let us now look at the second sentence. I researched a company that was established in 2001. Here again we have two events, researched and was established, and both are in the simple past. Here, do we need any past perfect to indicate which event took place first? Not really. We cannot research a company that has not even been established. So the context itself is telling me that the establishing must have taken place first. So the context itself is telling me that this is event 1 and this is event 2, the research. Therefore, this sentence is correct as is. That brings us to the end of this small lesson. We hope that you have now more clarity about why past perfect tense is used. Happy learning!